Hello there, welcome back to my channel, and this time it's comparing Minecraft that's retiring in 2025. Obviously if you watch my other videos you'll know that I'm making a list of the sets that are retiring in 2025 and comparing sets that have already retired to try and give you an idea whether it's a good idea to invest in it or not. Obviously if it's something that's identical, like some of the Friends sets, you know, like the shopping mall and then shopping mall and then shopping mall, it'll something exact you can compare it to. But some of the other things, they're similar or as close as I can get them to be similar to compare to. Right, so like I say, this time it's Minecraft. The first one is 21178, the Fox Lodge, 1799. Now I don't know much about Minecraft, so a lot of these I've kind of compared basically the price, because a mushroom house and a fox house and a frog house, things like that, I don't know which one is more important or more sought after or anything like that. So basically I've kind of gone, that's a 1799 set, I've looked for a 1799 set that is along the same lines and compared it with that one. So some of these things could be a lot of, but yeah, so anyway, so this has got two comparisons to this one. The first one is 21179, the mushroom house. That retired in 2024. It was £18 to buy, now it's worth 20. If you go on Amazon, there's people selling it for up to £35, and that one sold 3,443 sets. The other comparison is 21140, which is the chicken coop. That one retired in 2020. That was £20 to buy. It's now worth around £34. But if you go on Amazon, they're selling it for up to £150. So I don't know whether the chicken coop is better than the mushroom house, but anyway, that one sold 2,968 sets. The next one is 21251, the Steve's Desert Expedition, $8.99. Comparison to that one is 21162, the Tiger Adventure. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but anyway, that one retired in 2022. That was £9 to buy, now it's worth around £14. But if you go on Amazon, it's being sold for up to £33. So there you go with the small set syndrome, or what I call the small set syndrome. $8.99 set going for £33. And that one sold 3,464 sets. Next one is 21252, the Armory, $17.99. The comparison to that one is 21165, the Bee Farm. That one retired in 2022. It was £18 to buy, and now it's worth around £21. Now that one was given a good investment, and if you go on Amazon, they're selling that for up to £55. And that one sold 4,599 sets. Next one is 21255, the Nether Portal Ambush, $31.99. The comparison to that one is 21185, the Nether Bastion. That retired in 2023. That was £30 to buy, but now it's worth about £36. That was also given a good investment, but if you go on Amazon, they're selling that for up to £126. And that one sold 1,930 sets. Next one is 21256, the Frog House, which is $49.99. The first comparison to that one is 21170, that's the Pig House, and that one retired in 2023. That was £45 to buy, and now it's worth around £41, which is roughly an 8% loss. But if you go on Amazon, they're selling it for up to £84, and that one sold 3,547 sets. Next one is 21146. That's the Skeleton Attack. That retired in 2018. That was £50 to buy, now worth around £78. And on Amazon, that one's being sold for up to £188, and that one sold 658 sets. You see the difference between that one? One that sold, you know, less than 700 is £188, and one that sold 3,500 is £84. Now I don't know whether it's because one's a skeleton and one's a pig, but obviously there's less of them around, so there's more value to them. Right, so the next one is 21259, the Pirate Ship Voyage, $12.99. There's two comparisons to that one. The first one is 21138, the Melon Farm. That retired in 2019. That was £13 to buy. It's now worth £44, and that was given a good investment. If you go on Amazon, they're being sold for up to £165. and that one sold 1,103 sets. The other comparison is 21139, the Nether Fight. That retired in 2018. That was also £13 to buy. Now it's worth around 39. If you go on Amazon, it's being sold for up to £153, and that one sold 1,117 sets. Next one is 21260, the Cherry Blossom Garden, $22.99. The comparison for that one is 21114, the Farm. That retired in 2016. That was £25 to buy. Now it's worth around 43. But if you go on Amazon, it's being sold for up to £156, and that one sold 3,319 sets. The next one is 21261, the Wolf Stronghold, $29.99. The comparison for that one is 21105, Micro World the Village. Now that one, when it came out, was £30, and now valued at around £79. If you go on Amazon, they're selling it for up to £156, and that one sold 2,125 sets. Next one is 21262, the Windmill Farm, $49.99. The comparison to that one is 21144, the Farm Cottage. That was retired in 2018. It was £65 to buy. Now it's valued at around £137. But it must have been good, because if you go on Amazon, it's being sold for up to £388. And there again, they only sold 764 sets. Next one is 21263, the Badlands Mineshaft, $54.99. The comparison to that one is 21121, the Desert Outpost. That retired in 2017. That was £60 to buy, now worth around £77. If you go on Amazon, they're being sold for up to £239, and that one sold 1,611 sets. Next one is 21264, the Endor Dragon and End Ship, $69.99. The comparison to that one is 21117, the Endor Dragon. That retired in 2016. That was £60 to buy. Now it's worth £121. That one on Amazon is being sold for up to £289, and that one sold 2,134 sets. The next one is 21265, the Crafting Table, $79.99. Now there's two comparisons to that one. The first one is 21135, the Crafting Box. That retired in 2019. That was £80 to buy. Now it's only worth around 75, which is roughly a 6% loss. But if you go on Amazon, it's being sold for up to £180, and that one sold 1,116 sets. The next one is 21249. That retired in 2024, and that's the Crafting Table Box 4.0. That was £65 to buy, but now it's only worth about 57, which is roughly a 12% loss. And if you go on Amazon, it's being sold for up to £93, and that one sold 872 sets. And the last set is 21281, the Baby Pig Birthday Celebration, $17.99. And the comparison to that one is the Pig House, which is 21170. That retired in 2023. That was £45 to buy. Now it's worth around 41, which is roughly an 8% loss. But if you go on Amazon, it's being sold for up to £84, and it's sold 3,547 sets. Now I haven't done this for a while, so I thought I'd better do it just because you get some new people watching. I must apologise to my regular subscribers, but I'm going to go through the spiel. Basically, the information that I get, a lot of it is from a website that I pay a monthly fee for to become a member, and I get the information. So with that information, it tells me where the sets have sold, sort of thing, whether it's like sales in America, UK, Europe, Denmark and Australia, and it tells me the figures from Amazon, eBay, Bricklink and StockX. So it combines all those sales and all those countries. So I used to say on my videos, the figures that I give you, if I say that it sold 1,000 sets or whatever, I kind of in my head I times it by 4, because you got to allow the sales that go through Lego.com and Lego the store, and say for instance, I don't know, John Lewis in the UK, Argos in the UK, or Barnes and Noble, Target, Walmart, all that kind of thing. obviously maybe when I times it by 4, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I should times it by 6 or by 8 or whatever it is like that, but I just basically do it so that I've got a figure in my head and think, right, well that set has sold that amount, and I think, right, well that's quite a lot, I won't bother buying that one. Or if I think that's not a lot, then I will invest in it, just to give you an idea. So like I say, all I do is try and look for as much information as I can to help the community, to help you guys out there, and help you get more money, more profit. So anyway, my next video will probably be a bit of a mismatch of season of themes, because it's like seasonal and that kind of thing coming to the end. And like I said in my last video, I'm gonna maybe go back to the beginning and start looking in advance to see things that we can compare with, or things that will go with. So please join me in my next video, which, like I say, which will be seasonal and a few other themes together. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you again next time. Thanks so much for watching. Bye bye.